put windows in the doors, but that's it. I mean, no consequences have ever happened to that. So to allow staff to regulate a building, I don't know if we can trust that. And then secondly, just 2 meetings ago, we approved another building across from me that is oversized with no consequences. I mean, stay by your rules. And I don't mind people moving in. I'm not against that at all. But do it with the rules. And they could, I mean, I know they don't want to do this, but they could probably build 2 homes on that lot. I mean, they're not going to get deeded on one side, but they could build that. And I don't think there's anything that we could do on to.
All right, Pat, if you could finish up. Sorry, I didn't set my alarm, but I know we've gotten over the 3 minutes, but if you like, last few seconds to finish up.
Well, I have other points. Okay.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wishes to comment regarding this application? Yes, sir.
My name is David Ball. I live at 375 May Road, which is just to the north of Stockton. And so I'm north of the proposed lot split and just south, just west of Pat. And, you know, I share Pat's concerns. I also I think there's concern for wells going in and the strain on the water resources, at least in the summertime, that we tend to experience with, you know, our own water needs for that general area. I agree with Pat. It's the land is very low. There's essentially a small pond right where the houses are proposed to be built right now. And I agree with Pat. I think it would behoove the commissioners to physically look at the property to see what the challenges are before approving a split. And again, just to echo, it's been split once, it's been subdivided once, and I think it's ill-advised to split it again and have even more impact on a relatively small lot that, given the conditions, is going to be challenging for one home, let alone 2 separate homes on 2 separate lots. So I would urge that the split not be approved. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else here wish to comment? Anybody else online or on the phone that would like to comment? Again, last call for that. All right, we will close the public hearing. Shoot, I'm forgetting Jesse. I think it was it Jesse?
Yes.
Would you like to reply to any of the comments?
Yes, excuse me, sorry, don't talk for very long and then my throat gets all dry. And one of the things that we have here is the topographic survey showing stormwater runoff off to this side. We can certainly, you know, mitigate anything crossing the boundary from our property. I don't think we can block off the culverts that were put in this private road. And am I correct? They weren't permitted when they were put in, so their runoff is just heading over to us. They don't have to mitigate on their side. Is that right?
They overlooked it.
Okay, that it happens. You know, it happens, and we can certainly work with engineering. And I can talk to Elva Rocio and Raul about possibly sharing a private driveway, and I can work with engineering, I can work with Morgan about ensuring that the swale bar ditch along Stockton continues to flow even when we have high water. So that those don't seem to be a problem. I think the wells, groundwater is pretty high there. I think we heard one of the wells is 35 feet deep, which is pretty shallow, but is definitely deep enough that we can put our drain fields in as proposed or allowed through Central District Health. I believe we have already drawn, taken care of Morgan's comments. I'm not sure if she has the updated drawings back to her because I wanted to wait for this meeting to make sure that we didn't have anything else to address before we finalized that and sent it over. So I think that's about all I have for additional comments.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to let people know, this is in the area of impact. So any decisions made here will go to the county commissioners for their,
On subdivision only applications, you guys are the.
we are. Okay, I guess it doesn't go to commissioners. I was thinking because of the impact on this one. One thing that and it is zoned R1, so it fits within our code, what we have to abide by. One question that made me think, and I think I know the answer, but it might be worth confirming if it hasn't done already on any of the prior lot splits, were they lot splits or was an actual subdivision? Either way, was there any restrictions done on the plat or on that subdivision at that time that said no further subdividing?
So this was originally part of West Place subdivision, which was early 70s, I believe, and didn't have any real restrictions on the face of the plat itself. And then the record of survey was very hard to understand, looking back through our files, but appears to mostly be lot line adjustments across a pretty large swath of land. But did not also didn't have.
No special restrictions. Okay, I didn't think there was out there, but just it was looked at. Okay, just want to make sure there was nothing that later on. That
I have one on my property. I mean, I can't. I can't split it.
Sorry, sir. We'll make sure the staff's going to confirm that there are no restrictions for that. And all right, commissioners, any other questions or thoughts, comments to the staff amongst ourselves, discussion?
I mean, I think as it sits, it's in compliance with code.
I agree with Commissioner Rock. I don't see any fatal flaws that keeps this from going forward unless I'm missing something, but it seems to be in compliance and it seems like it can go forward.
I agree also.
Yeah, I guess my only comment would just to make sure is to confirm there are no restrictions from previous subdividing or record of surveys. I don't know if we need to add that in or if that's already part of one of the items. Would that be already part of?
If you want to add a condition of approval to provide a title report, probably cool to identify
I'm just wondering.
that in the application.
Yeah, because they should show the plat. They should. Well, yeah, if you have that, it would show it.
Mr. Chairman, if I can provide some context, they have been working on this for about a year. And the reason they have to do this subdivision was because when we looked back through all of the records that are applicable, with there being too many records of survey before, mostly to adjust minor lot lines and not create new lots, but this one created a remainder parcel. There's only a couple of them left, but all of that title searching and looking at all of the records led to this place. So for the applicant party, the unfortunate result is having to do the subdivision process, but we found no documents that accept that there would be limitations on splits. Across the way, they are already smaller than 2 acre lots, so they can't meet any more further split standards. But these ones, there are a few remainders that are greater than 2 acres that could meet the zoning requirements through subdivision splits.
And in the legal description of this one, it's not in the West Place subdivision.
Now that it's doing a new subdivision,
It's gonna be named it.
it's renamed its own thing.
Okay, well, as long as there's nothing on the title or anything that would restrict any more splits, but it doesn't sound like that. That would be my only thought on that one. Staff, any other, or not staff, excuse me, commissioners?
So do we want to add a condition to that effect, or are we good?
I think to be safe, just because it sounds like it was multiple things done, a little bit of extra effort just to make sure, because I would hate to have something come back 6 months down the line and they do a lot of work and all of a sudden, whoa, here's something that says you're not supposed to do it. I think just one more level of confirmation would be safe. And it probably could be just, I mean, it should show up in the previous plats. I mean, it sounds like they've pretty much done it, but they may be able to review their previous documents. But I think just to confirm that would be safe.
So something to the effect of, review the title report, or?
Review the history of the property to confirm,
Yeah.
including title report to confirm there's no restrictions on a additional split. I believe all the other conditions will kind of take care of any of the site items and driveway potentials. And that's going to be down the road with future permits.
Are we ready for a motion?
Yes, please.
All right. I move to approve subdivision 2301 with the staff recommended conditions of approval, including an additional condition to review the history of the property and the title report to ensure there are no restrictions on further splits.
Second. All right, we have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Day.
Sorry, sir. The motion is carried.
Thank you all. I appreciate it.
All right, the next item on the agenda, I believe, has been also postponed to the next meeting. So we have a motion to move that to our June 6th meeting.
I move to defer PUD 2201, sub 2205, and DR 2202 to our June 6th meeting.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to move with a second. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Yes. Aye. All opposed? All right, motion carries and is approved.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, that, we made it through. I'll be darned. Signs everywhere, there's signs.
The first sign of the year. It's been a slow day in sign world, slow year in sign world. We have RPM Automotive taking the place of Sales Automotive, getting a sign entitled For the Property. It is about 18 square feet, and Bobby is a jubilant soul. I think the community will love to have him in our business owner category group. He comes in with joy to the office to check on things every single day. Oh, they're done. It is wonderful. So it meets all the design guidelines. They toned down the originally black background and changed the shade of red to a richer barn-ish red rather than a vibrant obnoxious red. It has kind of grayish lettering, so it doesn't have the black on white thing going on. And that's all there is to it. There's no lighting. Bobby will have more great questions for us in the future about what kinds of mechanical equipment he can install in his driveway, but that is not related to his site. So, questions?
Where is it?
This is over on the industrial loop, kind of not quite kitty corner because there's no corners, but adjacent diagonally across the street to the Salmon River Raft Company.
Got it.
If you pointed in the opposite direction diagonally, you would hit like the lakeshore parking site.
Yep. Looks good.
That's all I have.
We don't have the airport sign?
No, they're not done yet.
Okay.
We've got a lot of
Um,
revisions every day of the week.
And then we originally were considering we'd have to do a second meeting, but looks like we've gotten through way before our 8:30 cutoff time, so we don't have to have a secondary meeting this month. So we don't have to worry about that. So commissioners, just, our next meeting will be June 6th. We do, let's see, we got this all spread out. The upcoming tentative agenda, looks like a few items, Brian.
Yeah. Gone last week during field day, so I honestly haven't looked through a lot of this, but yeah, that's a good amount of stuff.
So it looks like the next meeting, once again, could be a fairly potentially long meeting. Doesn't look like anything that would probably have too much interaction, do you see, or? You know?
No.
You never know. Okay. But looks like it could take a while. All right.
Bill, would you mind giving a quick intro on site visits and such?
Yeah, sure. So I just want to remind the commissioners that if you do make a site visit on some matter that's going to have a public hearing, you need to disclose that to the record beforehand so that we can enter that site visit into the evidence that can be considered. We don't want to be bringing that up for the first time in our discussion segment after our public hearings.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
All right. Well, once again, Tony, great to have you back. We'll look forward to seeing you around more. I'm open for a motion to adjourn.
Well, okay, now that I'm here, I've got a motion to adjourn at 10 minutes after 8. There you go. Nice to see all you again, too.
All right.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you much, everybody.
Thanks,
Good
everyone.
night.
All right.
Brian, so I can go, but I have to announce it.
It makes the lawyers very nervous. You go.
Really?
I'm happy to answer any questions offline.
But
You
I,
might have.
I guess that's educational for me, Bill.
Yeah.
I was thinking,
No problem.
okay,
Generally speaking, you're making your decision on whatever is in the packet, and anything extraneous from that, we need a record of that.
Yeah.
okay. But when they say the driveway's not that steep, but I know it is, then as long as I acknowledge that I've been there.
Yeah, so you'd want to disclose that during the public hearing so that it can be entered as evidence. What you have to remember is when you're at a public hearing, it's what's called a quasi judicial process. And what that means is your board of commissioners is sitting as like judges. And I don't know how much, I hope you haven't spent a lot of time in court, but a judge can only make a decision based upon the record presented. And so if the judge includes, so this is, and there's case law to support this for planning and zoning commissions, but if the planning and zoning commission includes in their decision evidence that was not entered into the record properly, then you can be overturned on an appeal to court. and we don't want that. And so instead, at the outset, you could say, hey, I just want everybody to know, I live next door. I visit it frequently. I've been by there. I've been by and I've observed the site. I know it's a hard rule to follow, but that's the framework we have to operate within.
I guess then the recommendation sounds like don't go visit.
Yeah, typically that's the best course of action. But, living in a town like McCall, I mean, I'm up there pretty regularly. That's hard to do. You guys live in town, and it's hard not to drive past a site. It's hard not to, be in your neighborhood. And so, just at the outset, I think you could say, hey, I live in the neighborhood. I have personal knowledge of the site.
I like it when Robert says how many times he's sold a piece of property. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
It's like, I've sold this one 3 times.
Yeah, so I've had a lot of experience with a variety of properties, so she's like, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
been there, done there, walked it, tried to sell it, sold it. It just has to disclose. And you gotta be careful with going to the site. Certainly don't want to end up talking with the owner, because that's when if you have an ex parte
That's
communication
ex
with
parte,
that, you
right.
gotta close that, and inevitably they're gonna come up and talk or try to, or.
Today I just saw backhoes and bulldozers.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Yeah. Any questions on that? I'm happy to answer any questions either in this format or offline, whichever you'd prefer.
Okay.
okay, great, thank you.
Yeah. And just in your defense, Commissioner, everybody here has had a number of trainings on this, and where you're new, you haven't.
Nope.
So
We
it's a
don't-
learning
we don't-
process.
We don't
Nothing
get this
is
stuff
broken.
at Parks and Rec Committee.
Yeah. Nothing is broken. Don't worry.
Yeah.
At least not beyond repair.
Okay.
All right, everybody,
right.
thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Bye.
Bye.